My name is Catherine Moore, and this is my story about how the friendly neighbor who brought me a welcome basket when I moved in 6 months ago had been sleeping with my husband for 3 years in the house we'd just sold to move here. When we moved to Maple Street, everyone told us how lucky we were. Best neighborhood in the city, the realtor said. Great schools, friendly people, real sense of community. The day the moving truck arrived, our next-door neighbor appeared with a basket of muffins and a warm smile. "I'm Vanessa," she said, extending her hand. "Welcome to the neighborhood. If you need anything, I'm right next door." She was beautiful. Late 30s, blonde, fit, the kind of woman who looked effortlessly put together, even in casual clothes. My husband, Derek, practically tripped over himself introducing himself. "Derek Moore," he said, shaking her hand a little too enthusiastically. "This is my wife, Catherine, and that's our daughter, Zoe." I thought nothing of it at the time. Derek was friendly with everyone, but over the next 6 months, Vanessa became a constant presence in our lives. Coffee in the morning, dinner parties, helping with Zoe. "You're so lucky to have such a helpful neighbor," my mother said when she visited. Last Tuesday, I came home early from work with a migraine. Found Derek's car in the driveway, which was strange. He'd said he had meetings until 5. I walked in through the garage, heading straight for the medicine cabinet. That's when I heard them. In our bedroom. Not just voices. The sounds that meant they weren't talking. I stood frozen in the hallway, hand on the doorknob, and heard my husband say her name. Vanessa. And her response, "God, I've missed this. The old house was better. We had more time before she got home." The old house. Those 2 words stopped me cold. The old house. The house we'd lived in for 5 years before moving to Maple Street 6 months ago. The house that was 30 miles away, in a completely different neighborhood where Vanessa didn't live, which meant they hadn't met when we moved here. They'd known each other before. Long before. I stood in my hallway, hand still on the bedroom doorknob, processing what I'd just heard. Vanessa hadn't appeared on Maple Street by chance. She hadn't randomly brought us a welcome basket out of neighborly kindness. She'd moved here deliberately, to be near Derek. My migraine was suddenly irrelevant. I backed away from the bedroom door silently, went back through the house, out to my car, sat there shaking, trying to think clearly. The old house was better. We had more time before she got home. They'd been doing this at our previous house. For how long? Months? Years? I pulled out my phone with trembling hands, opened our text history, scrolled back. 6 months? A year? 2 years? Found a text from 3 years ago. Running late. Meeting went long. That was the night Derek claimed he'd been stuck at the office until 9. I'd been home with Zoe, 2 years old at the time, wondering why he couldn't leave work at a reasonable hour. Had he been with Vanessa that night? I scrolled further, found dozens of late meetings, client dinners, networking events. How many of those had been lies? My phone buzzed. Text from Derek. "Heading into a meeting? Might be late. Don't wait for dinner." Heading into a meeting at 2:30 p.m. while he was in our bedroom with Vanessa. The lies were so casual, so effortless. I screenshot the text, started documenting. Then I did something I'd never done before. I called Derek's office. "Hi, this is Catherine Moore, Derek's wife. Is he available?" "Oh, hi, Mrs. Moore. Derek called in sick today. Said he had a stomach bug. Is everything okay?" Called in sick, while texting me that he was heading into a meeting. "Everything's fine," I said. I must have mixed up my days. "Thank you." I hung up. Sat in my car, tried to figure out my next move. I could go back in there, confront them, catch them in the act. But something stopped me. Some instinct that said I needed more information first. Because if this had been going on for 3 years, it wasn't just an affair. It was a relationship, a secret life. And Vanessa had moved next door to us, had positioned herself in our daily lives, had befriended me while sleeping with my husband. That level of calculation required a response equally calculated, so I started driving. Not aimlessly this time. I had a destination. Our old neighborhood. The house we'd sold 6 months ago. I pulled up to 847 Westbrook Lane, the house where we'd lived for 5 years, where Zoe had taken her first steps, where Derek and I had hosted Christmas dinners and birthday parties, the house where, apparently, my husband had been cheating on me with Vanessa for at least 3 years. The old house was better. We had more time. Time for what? How had they been meeting? I sat in my car across the street, looking at the yellow colonial where a new family now lived. Tried to reconstruct the past 3 years. Derek worked from home 2 days a week. I didn't. I was at the office 5 days. Zoe was in daycare. 2 full days a week when Derek was home alone. Had Vanessa been coming over then? Just walking in like she belonged there? I felt sick. My phone rang. Derek. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. I declined it. Text. Hey, where are you? Called the office. They said you left early. Right. Because I'd said I had a migraine. I texted back, went to pick up medicine, heading back soon. Giving him time to get Vanessa out of our house. His response, okay, feel better. Love you. Love you. While another woman was probably still in our bedroom. I wanted to scream, to throw my phone, to go back there and burn the whole house down. Instead, I put the car in drive and headed to the public library. I needed answers, and I was going to find them before confronting anyone. The library. I sat at a computer terminal in the back corner and started searching. Vanessa, my next-door neighbor. I knew her last name, Hartley. Had seen it on mail that occasionally ended up in our box by mistake. Vanessa Hartley. I searched property records for our old neighborhood, found our old address, then looked at surrounding properties. And there it was. 3 houses down from our old address, 823 Westbrook Lane. Purchased 8 years ago by Vanessa and Michael Hartley. Vanessa had lived 3 houses down from us for 5 years. I'd never seen her, never met her, never knew she existed. How was that possible? I kept searching, found that Vanessa had sold 823 Westbrook Lane 6 months ago, the same month we'd moved. Searched for her new address. Found it. 1842 Maple Street. Right next door to our new house at 1840 Maple Street. She'd sold her house on Westbrook and bought the house next to ours on Maple. Moved at exactly the same time we did. That wasn't coincidence. That was planning. But why? If they'd been having an affair for 3 years, why follow us? Why not just continue meeting secretly? Unless Derek didn't know. The thought hit me like ice water. What if Derek didn't know Vanessa had moved next door deliberately? What if he thought it was coincidence? What if Vanessa had orchestrated this entire thing without his knowledge? I thought back to that first day. The welcome basket. Vanessa's surprise introduction. I'm Vanessa. Welcome to the neighborhood. Derek's reaction, the surprise, the enthusiasm. Had he been genuinely surprised to see her? Or had he been acting? I needed more information. I searched for Michael Hartley, found a divorce filing from 18 months ago. Vanessa and Michael Hartley, marriage dissolved, no children. So Vanessa was divorced, free, available, while Derek was still married. To me. I kept searching, Social media, LinkedIn, anything, found Vanessa's Facebook. Privacy settings were tight, but her profile photo showed her smiling at the camera. Beautiful, confident. Her cover photo was more interesting. A quote: "Sometimes the things we want most are worth waiting for." How long had she been waiting? I searched Derek's social media. His Facebook was minimal. He barely used it. LinkedIn was professional, nothing personal. But I noticed something. Vanessa had liked several of his LinkedIn posts over the years, going back 5 years. So they'd been connected online, probably messaging, for years. I opened my laptop, I'd grabbed it from my car, and logged into our shared cell phone account. Found Derek's call and text logs. Started scrolling through 3 years of data. There. A number I didn't recognize. Hundreds of calls and texts over the past 3 years. Short calls during the day. Longer calls in the evening when I was putting Zoe to bed. I ran the number through a reverse lookup. Vanessa Hartley. Of course. I downloaded 3 years of phone records. Saved them to my cloud storage. Started going through the actual texts. Our phone plan included message archiving. The messages were careful. No explicit content, but intimate, thinking about you. Can't wait to see you again. That thing you do drives me crazy. Miss your hands. Going back 3 years. Hundreds of messages. A constant thread of communication running parallel to our marriage. I found messages from 6 months ago, right around our move. Derek, the new house is great. Zoe loves her room. Vanessa, that's wonderful. You deserve a fresh start. Derek, thanks. Feels good to have more space. Vanessa, I'm sure it does. Nothing indicating she was about to move next door. Nothing suggesting Derek knew. Then, a week later, Vanessa, guess what? You'll never believe this. Derek, what? Vanessa, I'm moving. Finally found a great house. Derek, that's amazing. Where? Vanessa, you're going to think this is crazy. Maple Street. Isn't that where you just moved? Derek, no way. What address? Vanessa, 1842. What are you? Derek, 1840? You're going to be next door? Vanessa, I know. What are the odds? It's like fate. Derek, this is... wow. We'll have to be really careful. Vanessa, I know. But isn't it exciting? We can see each other more? Derek, V, this is risky. Catherine will meet you. We can't... Vanessa, it'll be fine. We've been careful for 3 years. I'll be the friendly neighbor. Nothing more. In public, anyway. So Vanessa had orchestrated the move. Derek had been surprised, but he'd gone along with it, had been going along with it for 6 months. All those morning coffees. The dinner parties. Vanessa helping with Zoe. All of it a cover for their ongoing affair. And I'd been completely oblivious. You're so lucky to have such a helpful neighbor. My mother's words echoed in my head. I wasn't lucky. I was being played. By both of them. I kept reading. Found messages from this morning. Vanessa. Catherine left for work. Coast clear? Derek. Give me 30 minutes. I'll say I'm sick and leave the office. Vanessa. Can't wait. It's been too long. Derek. I know. Been thinking about you all week. Vanessa. Your bed or mine? Derek. Mine. More comfortable. Use the spare key. Spare key. Vanessa had a spare key to our house. That meant she could come and go whenever she wanted. How many times had she been in my house when I wasn't there? In my bedroom? Using my things? I felt violated in a way I couldn't fully process. This wasn't just an affair. It was an invasion. Vanessa had inserted herself into every aspect of my life, all while sleeping with my husband. I needed a plan. A real one. Not just confrontation, but strategy. I called a divorce lawyer. The lawyer's name was Margaret Torres, and she came highly recommended for complex divorce cases. "Tell me everything," she said during our emergency consultation that afternoon. I did. The affair, the 3 years, the move, Vanessa living next door, the messages, the phone records, everything. Margaret took notes, asked questions, showed no visible reaction to the details. When I finished, she said, "This is one of the more calculated situations I've encountered. 3 years is a long-term affair. The other woman deliberately moving next door suggests obsession or a plan to force your husband to leave you. What do I do? First, we document everything. You've already started, which is good. Keep gathering evidence, phone records, messages, any financial evidence of the affair. What kind of financial evidence? Hotel charges, gifts, money transfers. Affairs cost money. If he's been spending marital funds on her, we can use that. And then we file, but strategically. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, so the affair itself doesn't directly impact asset division, but it impacts custody, and it impacts the narrative. A judge who sees that your husband has been carrying on a multi-year affair with a woman who stalked you by moving next door, that judge is going to be sympathetic to your position. What about Vanessa? What about her? Can we do anything legally to her? Margaret considered. Alienation of affection isn't recognized in Washington. But if she's been using your house without permission, entering without your knowledge, that's trespassing. If she has a key, your husband gave her to your jointly owned property, without your consent, there might be an argument for illegal entry. Harder to prove, but worth documenting. She has a spare key. I saw it in the messages. Then we document that too. Change your locks immediately. If she tries to enter after that, it's clear trespass. When do we file? How fast can you gather evidence? I already have 3 years of phone records, the messages. Property records showing she followed you. What else do I need? Financial records, bank statements, credit cards, any unusual charges, photos if you can get them. And I'd recommend hiring a private investigator for a week. Get visual confirmation of them together. It helps in court. Do it. Margaret nodded. One more thing. Don't confront them yet. Don't let them know you know. The element of surprise is your advantage. Let them think they're getting away with it while we build an airtight case. How long? 2 weeks? Maybe 3. Enough time to document everything thoroughly. I took a breath. Okay, what's my first step? Go home. Act normal. While the private investigator watches your house. The private investigator's name was James Reed, and he started work the next morning. I went to work like normal. Acted like everything was fine. Texted Derek about dinner plans. Smiled at Vanessa when she waved from her yard. All while James watched both houses with long-range cameras. Day 1, he got photos of Vanessa entering my house at 10 a.m. using a key. Derek's car in the driveway. Her leaving at 2 p.m., hair messed up, makeup smudged. Day 2. Same thing. 9:30 a.m. entry, 3 p.m. exit. Day 3, they were bolder. Vanessa came over at 8 p.m. right after I left for my book club. She and Derek sat in my living room, wine glasses visible through the window. The photos showed them kissing on my couch. My couch. Where Zoe and I watched Disney movies. By the end of week 1, James had documentation of Vanessa entering my house 14 times, sometimes staying hours, once staying overnight when I was supposedly at a work conference. Derek had told me he'd be home with Zoe that night. Instead, he'd sent Zoe to his mother's house and had Vanessa stay over. In my bed. I also reviewed our financial records in detail, found $12,000 in charges to jewelry stores over 3 years. I'd received exactly one piece of jewelry from Derek in that time, $200 earrings for our anniversary. Hotel charges totaling $8,000, all during times Derek claimed to be at conferences or client meetings. Restaurant charges for expensive dinners at places we'd never been together. Venmo payments to Vanessa totaling $6,000 over 2 years. The notes said things like, "Thanks for dinner," and tickets. But I knew Derek and I had never socialized with Vanessa at restaurants. Total documented $26,000 in marital funds spent on the affair. I screenshot everything, backed it up in 3 locations. Meanwhile, I played the perfect wife. Made Derek's favorite dinners. Smiled at Vanessa. Attended the neighborhood potluck where Vanessa touched Derek's arm while complimenting his potato salad. "You two seem close?" another neighbor commented. "Derek's just friendly," Vanessa said, smiling. "Catherine's lucky to have such a nice husband." I smiled back. "I am lucky. We both are." Vanessa's smile tightened slightly. Just for a second. She didn't like me acknowledging my marriage. Didn't like the reminder that Derek was mine, legally and publicly, no matter what happened in private. Good. Let her be uncomfortable. Week 2. James got even better evidence. Photos of Derek and Vanessa in Vanessa's bedroom, curtains partly open, not explicit, but clearly intimate. Kissing. Undressing. "This is more than enough," James said when he delivered his final report. "Clear evidence of an ongoing affair, trespassing, and financial misconduct. You have an airtight case." Margaret agreed. "We're ready to file. When do you want to serve him?" "Monday," I said. "I want him served at work. I want it public. I want everyone to know." "And Vanessa?" "I'll handle Vanessa myself." Monday morning, I dropped Zoe at school like normal. Kissed Derek goodbye like normal. Went to work like normal. At 10 a.m., a process server arrived at Derek's office and handed him divorce papers. The petition was comprehensive. Detailed the 3-year affair. Included photos of Vanessa entering our house repeatedly. Included financial records of money spent on her. Included phone logs showing thousands of messages and calls. Requested: primary custody of Zoe, the house, alimony, child support, division of assets with compensation for the $26,000 spent on the affair, restraining order, preventing Vanessa from entering our property. At 10:15, Derek called me. I didn't answer. He called 8 more times, left frantic voicemails. "Catherine, what the fuck is this? You can't be serious. We need to talk. Please answer the phone." I didn't respond to any of them. At 11 a.m., I came home during my lunch break. Found Derek's car in the driveway. And Vanessa's car. Because, of course, she'd rushed over when Derek called her panicking. Perfect. I walked in through the front door. Found them both in the living room, Derek holding the divorce papers, Vanessa sitting next to him looking worried. They both froze when they saw me. "Catherine," Derek started, "I can explain." "Explain what?" I said calmly. "The 3-year affair? The $26,000 you spent on Vanessa using our money? The fact that she's been entering our house with a spare key you gave her? Which parts would you like to explain first?" He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at Vanessa. I turned to her. "And you? Did you really think I wouldn't figure out that you deliberately moved next door? That you engineered this whole friendly neighbor routine while fucking my husband in my bedroom?" Vanessa's face went pale. "I never meant to hurt you. You moved next door to me. You befriended me. You helped with my daughter. All while sleeping with my husband. Which part of that didn't mean to hurt me?" "It just happened," she said weakly. "We fell in love." You fell in love 3 years ago and have been lying to me every single day since. That's not love. That's obsession. I pulled out my phone, showed them both the photos. Vanessa entering our house, Derek and Vanessa kissing in her bedroom. The timeline of their messages. I have 3 years of documentation, I said. Phone records, financial records, photos, messages. A private investigator's report, everything. Derek sank onto the couch. Catherine, please. We can work this out. No, we can't. It's over. You chose it to be over 3 years ago. I'm just making it official. What about Zoe? Vanessa asked quietly. I turned to her slowly. What about my daughter? She's gotten close to me. I care about her. You care about her? My voice rose. You've been using my daughter as a prop in your scheme to steal my husband. You don't care about her. You care about Derek, and now you can have him. Congratulations. I looked at Derek. You have until 6 p.m. to get your things out. The locks are being changed tonight. If you come back after that, I'm calling the police. You can't kick me out of my own house? Judge's emergency order says I can. It's in the papers. Page 7. You should read them. He stared at me. I never meant for this to happen. Yes, you did. You chose it every day for 3 years. Every lie, every late meeting, every time you texted her instead of being present with your family. You chose this. Now live with it. I turned to leave, paused at the doorway. Oh, and Vanessa? If you set foot on my property again, I'm calling the police for trespassing. The restraining order is already in effect. Stay away from my house, my daughter, and my life. I walked out, got in my car, drove back to work. Let them figure out what to do next. I was done. The divorce took 9 months. Derek fought for custody, for the house, for everything. His lawyer tried to argue the affair was irrelevant. Margaret destroyed that argument with evidence of how the affair had impacted family finances and Derek's parenting. All those nights he'd claimed to work late while actually with Vanessa, missing bedtime with Zoe. They tried to argue Vanessa moving next door was coincidence. Margaret presented the messages where Vanessa admitted to engineering it. They tried to argue I was being vindictive. Margaret calmly noted that Derek had been carrying on a multi-year affair with a woman who then stalked me by moving next door and befriending me under false pretenses. The judge was not sympathetic. Midway through the proceedings, the neighborhood found out everything. The restraining order was public record. People put the pieces together. Vanessa became a pariah on Maple Street. People stopped inviting her to events, stopped talking to her. The neighborhood Facebook group had a heated discussion about predatory neighbors that everyone knew was about her. She put her house up for sale 4 months into my divorce proceedings. Moved away before it even sold. Derek tried to follow her. His lawyer argued he should get the house so he could stay in the neighborhood near Zoe's school. The judge gave me the house, pointed out that Derek had compromised the family home by carrying on an affair there and giving his affair partner unauthorized access. Final settlement. I got the house, valued at $650,000, primary custody of Zoe. Derek gets every other weekend, $3,800 a month in child support, $20,500 a month in alimony for 3 years, 60% of marital assets, compensating for the money spent on Vanessa. Derek had to pay my legal fees, $45,000. Total impact to Derek, roughly $400,000 in assets and support payments. He and Vanessa stayed together for 6 months after the divorce finalized, then broke up. Apparently, the reality of their relationship without the excitement of sneaking around wasn't as appealing. Last I heard, Derek was dating someone new, someone age-appropriate and honest. I hope it works out for him. Genuinely. Vanessa moved to another state. Started over somewhere people didn't know her story. I'm still on Maple Street, still in the house. The neighbors are supportive now that they know the truth. One of them, ironically, brought me a welcome basket last month. "Welcome to your new life," the card said. I laughed, put the basket on my counter. Thought about Vanessa's basket from 6 months ago, filled with muffins and deception. This one was better. It was honest. It's been 3 months since the divorce finalized. Zoe's adjusting. She's 7 now. Old enough to understand that sometimes parents don't stay together. Young enough to still believe both her parents love her. Which we do. Derek might be a terrible husband, but he's an okay father. He shows up for his weekends, attends school events, pays support on time. We're not friends, but we're civil. For Zoe. Last week, I was getting mail and found an envelope addressed to me with no return address. Inside was a note, handwritten. "Catherine, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. I know this letter won't fix anything, but I needed you to know something. I'm sorry. Not for getting caught. For all of it. For pursuing Derek when I knew he was married. For moving next door. For befriending you while betraying you. For using Zoe to get close to your family. For all the lies and manipulation. I told myself I was in love. That love justified everything. But it didn't. Love doesn't make you hurt people. Love doesn't make you stalk someone or deceive them or destroy their family. What I did was selfish and cruel. You didn't deserve any of it. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a response. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry and that you were right about everything. I hope you're doing well. I hope Zoe is happy. I hope you've found peace. Vanessa." I read the letter 3 times. Part of me wanted to be moved by it, to see it as genuine remorse, to feel some closure in her apology. But another part, the part that had spent 2 weeks documenting her betrayal, knew the truth. Vanessa was sorry because she'd lost. Sorry because her plan to steal my husband had backfired spectacularly. Sorry because she'd become a social pariah and had to move away and start over. She wasn't sorry for hurting me. She was sorry it hadn't worked out the way she'd hoped. I put the letter in a drawer, didn't respond, moved on with my life. Because here's what I learned. Some people will do anything to get what they want, including destroying innocent people in the process. And when their plan fails, they'll apologize. Not because they feel genuine remorse, but because they want to feel better about themselves. You don't owe those people forgiveness. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them anything. All you owe yourself is the truth. And the truth was, Vanessa had deliberately targeted my family, had spent 3 years lying to me, had moved next door to continue her deception more easily, and I'd caught her, documented it, made her pay for it. That was enough. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment about where you're watching from. And if you've ever discovered that your friendly neighbor was your enemy, you're not alone. Subscribe for more stories. Because sometimes the people who bring you welcome baskets are the ones you need protection from. And sometimes the best revenge is simply surviving them and keeping what's yours.